So if in the long COVID, the concept of viral persistence is entertained, like you saw in this slide here, persistence of reservoirs of SARS-CoV-2, Paxlovid could have made a difference, okay, if we didn't see rebound with it in COVID. I should say, awaited with the data and its use in long COVID. As soon as it comes, okay, we will be updating you, okay, on a talk like this, that what are its effect and prospects and the usage in long COVID. Then we have got drug like Tolovid, targets an enzyme of the SARS-CoV-2, CL3 protease that is actually involved in the replication of the virus. That brings me to medicinal 9, which is just below the Paxlovid here, okay, and some of the components of it are mentioned here, and some stars are there in front of them designating their antiviral property, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant properties. Now, this is a combination of nutraceutical agents which are written here, and what superiority a combination offers, okay, we'll discuss it in a moment.
I would like to pass the stage now to Dr. Baig, who will be able to navigate us through early treatment solutions that are available and discuss what long COVID sufferers could do to protect them from new waves coming. So, Dr. Baig, the floor is yours.
I will begin with a slide presentation, but before I go to that, I would like to briefly summarize what Valentina was actually stating, and you can feel the concern in her tone that the incoming days, especially the winter, okay, which already has started, okay, in many European countries and US, is yet we have not recovered from the previous pandemic, and you see controversial type of events and very less mention of usage of a mask and the protective value of it. The thing is that we should know how to face a reality. So the thing is, keep on with the safety measures, whatever you know has worked in the past, and whatever actually keeps you away from having a new pathogen or a repeated infection by the same pathogen, the SARS-CoV-2, especially the emerging variants, okay, with their ability to evade the immune system is really concerning. And in some previous talk with Valentina, you might have noted I've said that the more you get the reinfection, okay, the more you actually move closer towards the long COVID milestone. And then it could start with the second infection, first infection, third, and nobody can predict it at the moment that which infection is going to actually start taking that person into a protective state of long COVID with severe disability symptoms. Like the disability that the patients are suffering is enormous. So that was predicted. I mean, like last year in several of the papers that we published, but then now I'm living in that era, okay, where whatever was actually gauged and forecasted to happen, okay, it's happening. I'll talk about the treatment, but then please keep away from getting reinfected yourself, okay, your family, your friends, and keep up to date with measures, okay, which work in real and they show results. And one more thing before I start that, okay, I'm going to re-emphasize when I show you the slides and we talk about the current approach towards long COVID, is that don't jump on self-treatment stuff. Don't decide it on your own. I know. Your answer to this precaution would be, where is the help? Okay, it's not there. The reason we are taking things in our own hand, but then please do involve some person who knows. Okay, ask on Twitter, okay, or any person that you know is associated with the healthcare professional. Don't decide the doses yourself. Don't decide the drugs yourself. And wait and see for the data. Okay, now it's moving at the speed of light, the research on long COVID and the associated symptom that it is causing. So I will now take you to my slides, okay, where I will talk about the treatment modalities and the current approaches. Let me take you to this slide where I actually talk about how to approach the disease. You should know the meaning of the results. Okay, let a person who is is aware with the interpretation of the results, okay, guide you. Try to understand D dimers are only one marker, okay, for endothelial or hypercoagulation state, okay. There are many things which are causing endothelial injury for which the markers we yet don't know. Don't try to draw inferences from the result yourself. Don't try to read the test and then don't even try to guess on test results, okay, that this particular result means this particular thing. Let the healthcare professionals tackle it and make you understand what a particular result or a particular biomarker elevation means. It takes us to the next slide where we talk about journal Nature, okay, publish something about how we are approaching in long COVID. So here you see long COVID in a box, okay, and then the drugs that like famotidine, colchicine, okay, some anticoagulants. These are the ones that they are recommending. Also, we are thinking about immune suppression, that possibly suppressing the immune system by drugs would possibly make a difference. I will comment on that, okay, in a minute. Also, drugs that target the immune system, blood clots, and the leave-over segments of the coronavirus are thought to be important segments of the therapy. Antiviral drugs, they actually coined the concept of using them, but with no hints that what those drugs are. They emphasize one thing which we have been shouting for ages, okay, that persistence of reservoirs of SARS-CoV-2 can be causing long COVID. Powerful anticoagulants are needed that dissolve the microclots, they call it, okay, I call the microthrombi, because they are not normal clots, they are abnormal intravascular solid masses made up of components of the blood, okay, which actually are causing the hypoxia or reduced oxygen flow to the tissue. Now, having said that, one of the big issues in patients with long COVID is formation of autoantibodies. They are puzzled, as they admit here, that we don't know how mistakenly our own immune system is mounting an attack against our own tissues. So this takes us to the third slide, okay, where we talk about what drugs are being used or the rationale of usage. You will see many drugs, okay, on the screen which you know by name, like Tolovid, Nattokinase, Serapeptase, Vedisnals, and Maraviroc, and statins. Now, I want to give you a brief view of these drugs so that you use them with caution and always with the advice of your doctor. Let's talk about Paxlovid first. You saw this drug, okay, was given in COVID, and now in long COVID they are recommending it. Like rebound phenomena are being reported with it, and it's again I'll tell you later that it's a combination of two drugs, and both of them designed to target SARS-CoV-2 in the body. So if in the long COVID, the concept of viral persistence is entertained, like you saw in this slide here, persistence of reservoirs of SARS-CoV-2, Paxlovid could have made a difference, okay, if we didn't see rebound with it in COVID. I should say, awaited with the data and its use in long COVID. As soon as it comes, okay, we'll be updating you, okay, on a talk like this, that what are its effects and prospects and the usage in long COVID. Then we have got a drug like Tolovid, targets an enzyme of the SARS-CoV-2, CL3 protease that is actually involved in the replication of the virus. Mixed results, with the usage of which are observed. Some patients say that within first week or something, they suffer a surge of the symptoms followed by some relief. That is not the case with other patients. The reason I possibly discussed in some of my previous talks that the drug should be individualized. So if a person is having good effects with Tolovid or Nattokinase, it's not necessary that all of them would come up with the same result. Nattokinase is the next candidate, dissolves the clot, okay, and it is a very well-known product, okay, that actually can prevent the formation of the microthrombi and dissolve possibly the thrombi formed in the circulation, for which for the later one, that it dissolves the already formed microthrombi in case of COVID-19 or long COVID, we await the data to see it clearly that capability is there. Nattokinase is coupled with a drug which is next to it on the right-hand side, serapeptase, is a one that possibly is involved in the prevention of formation of those thrombi within the circulation. And as you know, circulation is a major problem with patients with COVID and as well as long COVID. But we need absolute irrefutable data which will emerge very soon with the usage of these compounds, and that would actually guide our way towards dosage of them. That brings me to medicinal 9, which is just below the Plaxivir here, okay, and some of the components of it are mentioned here, and some stars are there in front of them designating their antiviral property, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant properties. Now, this is a combination of nutraceutical agents which are written here, and what superiority is a combination offers, okay, we'll discuss it in a moment. But then you have to know that a combination of these compounds, okay, sometimes which are targeting a single target in the virus, the dosage should be ideally calculated, as has been the case with in medicinal 9, the reviews that came out of its usage in the users in COVID and as well as long COVID. So this compound itself, when used by patients, okay, I've come up with the reviews that if I'm using the nattokinase along with it, okay, should I reduce the dose of medicinal, or I should take the normal dose of medicinals, reduce the dose of nattokinase. If you plan to take a nattokinase in combination with any other drug that you're using, okay, go or talk to your doctor or the manufacturer that how much should I take? What's your experience? What your patient data is showing? That since medicinal itself is made up of many components, and other drugs like Tolovid, nattokinase, serapeptase, okay, whatever they do, components in the medicinals are already doing that. So is a combination a wise choice? And if you do that combination, okay, how much should you reduce either medicinal or nattokinase? That could be an issue that your doctor could very easily solve. The next to it on the right-hand side, you see Maraviroc there, statins there. They have shown their effects in patients with COVID and long COVID. Do they need a combination to be combined with the fibrinolytic agents? Like, you should talk to your doctor. Do I need to have aspirin with them? You should talk to your doctor, and that actually is the point where you get to know that which combination is an ideal one for you. I told you in the beginning of this slide, I wish I had more time, 2 or 3 more slides like these, in which I could show you other drugs which are being used for the management of long COVID and COVID-19. But always remember, if you are on more than one drug that is targeting the virus or an anti-inflammatory pathway or acting as an antioxidant, the combination should always guide you that one dosage of one of them should be reduced, because otherwise, not only the effect gets magnified, leading to maybe one example is like if you're taking 2 antithrombotic agents or anticoagulants, okay, they can provoke an incidence of bleeding in you, which could be dangerous, life-threatening. So the thing is, as I said in the beginning of the presentation, don't self-medicate yourself. Ask the healthcare provider. Brings us to the next slide. You have been taking vitamin C, known as ascorbic acid, and vitamin A is an antioxidant like vitamin E, and all the ones listed here, okay, are present in the over-the-counter supplement in one combination or the other. Once you actually select a supplement, and I've seen that happening, so I'm guiding you on this one. Some guys are on more than 2 or 3 supplements. They just jump for anything that they possibly heard from someone that showed result, okay, and they don't care to see that this one, all 3 of the supplements that the person is taking has got full doses of vitamin A, even vitamin C, even melatonin, like in different trade names. Be careful, if you are using one supplement, you choose the other one. Just see the ingredients of it. Is there an overlap? If the overlap is there, okay, are you touching any toxic levels of even the vitamins? Because these sound to be like vitamins, and sometimes we think, okay, what difference would it make if I take a little of vitamin A? I'll tell you, if you take a full dosage of vitamin A in 2 supplements, okay, it could be hepatotoxic, damaging your liver. Some of them damage the kidney, and some of them overload the body with storage of them, which can harm the function of the organ which does that. Be careful. I mean, if you are having one supplement and you didn't suffer any adverse effect or side effects, if you are jumping to another one, okay, see whether there is an overlap of the ingredients of them. If the overlap is there and you have made up your mind to use it, or the recommendation is heavy, ask your doctor, ask a healthcare provider. Okay, can I use it? I mean, like, is the vitamin in full dose in both of them? Is there a possibility that it could harm me, or it would just pass in my urine? This slide is showing you the name of some antioxidants and omega-3, cysteine and ginseng and other things. Again, they are present in several supplements. If you're taking them independently as a capsule or a tablet, just see that your supplements don't have it, so that you might not be like damaging your organs, okay, by overloading their storage. So this slide is again one example of drugs being given, where I want to take 2 minutes on those probiotics, only because this is one of the most significant and important organ of our body, which gut, where the residual virus can hide in, and it can cause reappearance in the blood by appearing through portal vein and then getting into systemic circulation. You must remember that if you are planning to address the residual virus, okay, you have to have a consultation with your gastroenterologist, and he would prescribe you the probiotics needed. Because if you are just like doing the saline therapy, okay, addressing it at 2 or more than 2 places, but you are not addressing the most valuable and massive reservoir of the virus, the gut, maybe you would never clear the virus. So keep in mind of these things, which are very important when it comes to selection of what should I use. And again, re-emphasizing, be very vigilant that you are not using 2 similar or identical agents in 2 supplements. Just like ask anyone who knows. It brings us to our last slide. Start with number 2, okay? I should have put them in the other order, okay? I should have kept the root cause above and drug synergism below. But let's start with the root cause first. You have to know that am I addressing, or my drug selection is addressing the root cause of long COVID, or the COVID complication, or the symptoms caused by COVID. I mean, like sometimes, it's the root cause is different. It causes some amplification of its effects, and then the symptoms result. We start treating the symptoms. Root cause remains there, and then you actually are back to square one in 3 weeks or 5 weeks, and that we have already seen in many cases. So here, I think my thought on addressing the root cause could be a drug which actually exhibits the number 1 shown here, the drug synergism. I would take 2 minutes, okay, to describe it so that you can understand. Although Paxlovid has got a drug synergism combination of 2 drugs, one targeting the virus, other one increasing its plasma level in the blood, okay, and not allowing it rapid clearance of it into the blood. So the viral persistence is the root cause. Don't we expect that a drug which already has shown it for COVID-19 would exhibit the same thing in long COVID? So a tone of caution here. Till the data emerges, till it gets published, peer-reviewed, data shows very strongly that be it Neurocovid or Paxlovid, it's showing the effect in long COVID. I think that you should consult your physician or healthcare professionals, okay, before choosing any of the drug, okay, which might look like a drug synergism. Drug synergism is when you combine 2 or more than 2 drugs, and they give you a clinical effect which is greater than any of them when used alone. Drug synergism usually, I'll tell you, has got 2 or more than 2, at the max 3 drugs, okay, which actually do the same, what you call as clinical outcome effect by targeting subsequent, what you call as portions of a metabolic reaction or something. I think that having 9 components in medicinal 9, some of them being antiviral, okay, some of them have dual properties like antiviral as well as antioxidant, some of them being neuroprotective. The thing is, this combination has got that flavor of drug synergism. But let me tell you this: if you are choosing any of the drugs that I showed you previously, okay, here, mettokinase, tolobit, okay, or maraviroc or statin, since the components of the medicinal line have got that component, okay, which partially or completely addresses that issue, a combination without reduction of the doses of either one of them could be harmful. So keep in mind that a combination which is here is actually, you saw titles, okay, let me show it to you again. Antioxidant, neuroinflammation, antiviral. Those properties are present in substances like quercetin, like hesperidin, like vicodin, curcumin. So if this combination is already sorted in medicinal line, usage of another product or compound or a drug, okay, which has got a similar effect, one has to reduce the dose of either medicinal line or the other product which has got the similar effect. So when I say root cause, I want you to show some non-root cause effects which are addressed, okay, in long COVID. For example, the formation of thrombi. I mean, let's come here. Let's see this one, nattokinase. Prevention of a clot, very good. Lysis of the clot, possibly yes, and if it's doing it. But like what's forming the clot? The SARS-CoV-2, its S protein. Has any of these drugs, okay, the potential to eradicate the virus? Maybe Plaxovit, yeah, Maraviroc, but then we have to have solid data of them in long COVID, which is now being published and it's coming in front. And making a choice of an ideal antiviral should not be a problem for your physician if he's reading the literature, which of being disappointed, okay, that many of your doctors, okay, the patients tell me that they say, some of them even say, what's long COVID? You know, the good news is that trend is going off after NIH and CDC and journals like Lancet and Nature have recognized the long COVID now, WHO included. Okay, so now it has been recognized. So they are too much away from the current literature on drugs like Maraviroc, on even medicinals, individual components of it, even nattokinase. Till they get updated, okay, you can take the like printouts of these publications and say, I'm taking this and this. Here it is published. Do you think I should combine them? And if you recommend, okay, which dose is the one which is good for me, keeping in mind my height, body weight, and these parameters are important when we decide dosing. You know, if it is addressing the root cause, good. If it's also addressing the symptomatic effects of the SARS-CoV-2 or its spike protein, the drug is recommended. And when this summers are coming, you know, I don't mind a drug going into synergism, okay, any combination of what you saw here. Thank you very much for your time. And most of you guys know me on Twitter, okay, if you've got any questions, just post them. I always feel free to give a non-medical advice, non-treatment advice. It's not me who's going to tell you what the dose is. Neither I'm going to prescribe it for you. Your doctor is going to do that for you. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to come with Valentina on our channel, okay, and help you guys with the whatever little knowledge I've got. Okay, thank you very much.
Dr. Mannan, thank you very much. As always, very useful information, and I think you covered it all, talking about the early treatment that people need to have at home just in case things go wrong, because the situation in the NHS, in A&E, is at very critical state at the moment. So it's going to be hard to get right treatment on time. So the overview of the solutions that Dr. Baig has shown today is just first step towards doing your own analysis, doing your own research, and talking to people who previously maybe took one of them, but do not leave the disease by itself, that it will disappear. We already know that Omicron is causing long-term neurological damage, and even if you think it is mild, after initial infection, it will show cardiovascular issues, it may show other issues as well. So be vigilant. Yes, Dr. Baig.
I just like would steal your 2 minutes on that mild thing, It has gone, viral on so many channels to call a COVID infection mild. Honestly, I'll tell you, I myself fail to understand the meaning of the mild. Okay, and from the patient perspective, it's like I don't have that much fever, I don't have that much chest pain, not that much sore throat. I can walk. Okay, so if you think that is mild, I would say you to be cautious. Anything which is mildly symptomatic doesn't mean that it's not going to be looking for areas in your body, okay, where it could reside for a long term. Because I know like a bunch of guys, okay, who had a mild symptom and now are having long COVID. So like don't decide that mildness on the basis of the symptoms that it caused in you, because many with those milds, okay, are not now capable of walking to the nearby park, okay, which is hardly 20 steps away from their residence, So the mild thing is, there is nothing mild about SARS-CoV-2, okay. Sorry, Valentina, I took your 2
Yes.
minutes.
So we also see that patients struggle to get the solutions you've mentioned, for example, Paxlovid and Tolovit, which were marketed quite heavily on the media, that they're available, but people unfortunately cannot get them now through their GP. So what, as you mentioned, these solutions only cover one thing of COVID as such.
Yeah, the availability, like even if it's manufactured 24/7, its availability will always be in shortage. Okay, why? Only because you just like if at the end of this conversation you can give the audience the number of the long COVID in Europe alone, US alone, and Asia. Like it's a global thing. I mean, how much would you produce these substances? Okay, to actually fulfill the public need. Okay, so availability is recommendation is one thing, availability is a real issue. So if I tell you one thing, okay, that's very good for you, you say, where can I buy it? I mean, like, okay, even if your doctor says, okay, where can I, okay, I said, no, like, this is not my problem, I just write it for you, you just go and get it from the pharmacy. If they say wait for 5 years, okay, wait for 5 years. I mean, like, this doesn't make sense, So try to avail the one which is available.
Thank you. So I hope the situation is clear for many of you, and you will take your health into your own hands and will navigate your symptoms with your doctor who is available in this crisis, and jointly you will find solutions which will help solve these numerous symptoms that people experience after COVID. So thank you very much for today's evening, and this is all for tonight. Bye-bye.